On the evening of May 8, 2015, Lisa Holm, a young woman from Sweden, vanished without a trace. It was a quiet evening, one that would soon become a national tragedy. Lisa's disappearance wasn't just another missing persons case, it would unravel a terrifying mystery that gripped the nation and left a lasting mark on Swedish society. This is the story of how a seemingly peaceful village became the backdrop for one of Sweden's most shocking and devastating events. Lisa Holm was just 17 years old when her life was tragically cut short. A bright, passionate young woman, she had her whole life ahead of her. Born and raised in Sweden, Lisa had a deep love for animals and would often spend her days at a local cafe near her family's home. It was here that Lisa's infectious energy and warm personality made her a well-loved figure in the small community of Blomberg. With a spirit full of adventure and a heart full of kindness, she was someone who lit up the lives of those around her. Known for her caring nature, Lisa worked at a small cafe where she formed lasting friendships with the regulars. It wasn't just her passion for animals that endeared her to everyone, but her genuine kindness and infectious laugh. Lisa was raised in Blomberg, a small town where everyone knew each other, and she grew up surrounded by love and support. Outside of work, Lisa's adventurous spirit was always on display. Whether it was hiking through the forests, riding her bike, or volunteering at animal shelters, she always sought new experiences and connections with the world around her. Her family and friends knew her as someone who would always make time for those she cared about. Her warmth and smile made her someone you couldn't forget. But on May 8, 2015, that all changed. It was just another day in Blomberg, a day like any other, until Lisa didn't return home. On the evening of May 8, 2015, Lisa Holm worked her usual evening shift at the cafe. It was a quiet night, much like any other, and she was expected to head home around 9:30 p.m. after finishing her duties. But when morning arrived, Lisa was nowhere to be found. Her family and friends immediately sensed something was wrong. Lisa had worked her regular shift, a typical evening in a quiet cafe. There was nothing unusual about the night. The last customers had left and the door had clicked shut behind them. Just another ordinary night before everything would change. After work, Lisa should have walked home, a journey she knew well. But she never made it. By the next morning, her family's concern grew. Lisa wasn't answering her phone. She hadn't come home. In their hearts, they knew something was terribly wrong. Worried and desperate, Lisa's family reported her missing to the local police. They knew the community well, and this was unlike anything they'd ever experienced. Local police launched a search immediately, scouring the town and surrounding areas, but there were no signs of Lisa. Her disappearance was a mystery that seemed to deepen with each passing hour. The whole community rallied together, searching for any clue, any sign of Lisa. As days passed, the search intensified, but still there was no trace. As the days turned into a week, the case garnered nationwide attention. News outlets reported on Lisa's disappearance, and the story spread like wildfire. What began as a missing persons case had now become a nationwide search for the truth. But as the search continued, it became clear that this wasn't just about finding a missing person. The investigation shifted focus. There were no signs of an accident or simple disappearance. The authorities now feared something far worse. What started as a search for a missing girl had now become an urgent hunt for a killer. With no answers and no suspects, the case seemed to be spiraling into something far more horrific. The search for Lisa Holm was intense. Local police, volunteers, and even the community came together, combing through the forests, searching through the countryside, and questioning anyone who might know something. But as days passed, the frustration grew. There were no immediate leads, no clues to follow. The whole town of Blomberg waited anxiously, hoping for a breakthrough. Then, just 4 days after Lisa went missing, the first breakthrough came. Jesper, a local man who had been questioned earlier, suddenly became a key suspect. His connection to the case would soon become clear. Jesper, a 42-year-old man with a criminal past, was no stranger to the authorities. He had worked on a nearby farm, an isolated and eerie place far removed from the hustle of the city. His past, marked by brushes with the law, seemed like it was behind him, yet the quiet, haunting landscape of the farm hinted at the shadows of his former life. He lived a solitary existence, far from the noise and chaos, but it was here, in this forgotten corner of the world, where his story would take an unexpected turn. The police quickly turned their attention to Jesper, their suspicions growing as they scoured the property. Every corner of the land was examined, with officers combing through sheds and barns searching for any clue that could tie Jesper to the incident. As detectives meticulously sifted through his belongings, they found disturbing inconsistencies in his alibi, details that didn't quite add up. His explanations were shaky, and the calm exterior of the farm began to reveal a much darker reality. The investigation was only beginning, but it was clear that Jesper was no longer just a witness in their eyes. With every turn, Jesper's story began to unravel. As he sat in the sterile, cold interrogation room, his nerves betrayed him, his eyes shifting, his answers faltering. The police wasted no time, relentlessly pressing him on every detail. On one side of the screen, Jesper's anxious face under questioning. On the other, detectives pieced together the facts, their scrutiny relentless. Jesper's alibi, once a lifeline, was now under intense scrutiny, and it didn't hold up. Inconsistencies piled up, and with every contradiction, the walls around him seemed to close in. The more he spoke, the more his lies became exposed. A search of his property uncovered evidence that would change everything. What seemed like a routine investigation quickly took a darker turn. The camera lingers on a single piece of evidence, small but chilling, found hidden among the farm's old, neglected corners. Officers exchange worried glances as they realize the gravity of what they've stumbled upon. Then, the air grows tense as they uncover something far more sinister, a body buried deep beneath the surface, sending shockwaves through the investigation. The chilling discovery sent a ripple through the team, confirming their worst fears and marking the beginning of a much darker chapter in Jesper's story. In the end, the investigation led to a horrifying discovery. Lisa Holm's body had been hidden on the very farm where Jesper had worked. As the camera pulls back to show the farm from a distance, the somber scene unfolds, the body being uncovered from its shallow grave, the air thick with dread. The quietness of the rural land contrasts sharply with the brutality of the moment. In a final, heartbreaking act, the body is covered once more, a stark reminder of the tragedy that had unfolded. Jesper's involvement became undeniable, and the truth, ugly and devastating, was finally brought to light. The once peaceful farm now stood as a grim testament to the horror that had been hidden beneath its surface. In June 2015, Jesper was arrested and the nation was left in shock. The moment his arrest was made, the weight of his crimes became undeniable. As officers took him away, his once calm demeanor now replaced with the grim reality of his situation. Solemn expressions filled the faces of those around him. The quiet rural landscape was suddenly overwhelmed by the presence of media vans, news reporters, and cameras, everyone scrambling to capture the unfolding drama. Jesper was charged with the kidnapping, rape, and murder of Lisa Holm, a crime that sent ripples through the community. The horrifying revelation left the nation stunned, struggling to comprehend how a man who had once seemed so ordinary could commit such atrocities. The trial that followed revealed the brutal truth. Jesper's actions were brought to light in excruciating detail, and the courtroom was filled with the pain of Lisa's family and the public. Jesper's criminal past, including previous sexual offenses, was revealed in court, cementing his guilt. He was sentenced to life imprisonment for his horrific crimes. However, for Lisa's family and the nation, the scars would never heal. In the aftermath, many called for stronger laws, better prevention programs, and a more vigilant society. The tragedy led to movements advocating for change, ensuring that Lisa's death would not be in vain. Lisa's legacy lives on in the hearts of those who knew her and in the ongoing fight for a safer, more just society. Her story continues to inspire change and serves as a powerful reminder of the strength found in community and justice. Lisa Holm's tragic death reverberated across Sweden, raising difficult questions about safety in the nation's peaceful communities. The case shook the public's faith in the justice system and the awareness of violent offenders among seemingly calm surroundings.